Oh, hello, everyone out there in MMA land, specifically Rankings Landia. This is the town that we are visiting for the first time in actually only a couple of months. I think we did a ranking show not too recently. But, you know, it used to be sort of a monthly feature. We do it after every pay-per-view. But now it's like sometimes there's not as much movement. You guys saw the first couple of events of 2025. Didn't get any new champions, didn't really see a lot of shakeups, but things are starting to churn a little bit. We saw some fighters get some big wins this cycle. I'm your host, Alexander K. Lee, to talk about sort of the latest updates in the rankings, make some debate over, where some fighters should be positioned after some pretty important wins. And joining me on today's show are an illustrious cast of characters. First, I'll introduce, of course, my Otno co-host and my best friend, Mike Heck.
Hi guys, how's it going? I waved before the camera got to me, and then it became an awkward second wave. But here we are, and it's an honor and a privilege to be here, gentlemen.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. The man who invented the fart scale. It's our very own Jed Meshew, also on the show today.
Well, one, thank you for that. Two, a co-inventor. I don't want to take anything away from the abominable Shaheen Al-Shadi, the villain. Was also my co-inventor of that, though I did invent the Mashulin star scale, and we just had a Mashulin card, AK. We never get Mashulin cards anymore. It was wonderfully exciting, and a lot of stuff happened, so we can get into it.
What a brain trust we have here. Oh, how could I forget, of course, EK Leydon on the ones and twos. There he is. No sleeves, no sleeves today. That means it's going to be a good show.
Yeah,
no sleeves, no mercy.
I'm here to talk about Ankalaev. In the pound for pound.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Ankalaev. We're going to talk about...
I love that the Casey's sleeves are the Puxatawny Phil of our content. No sleeves. It'll be a good hour of content. Oh, he's got sleeves on. Winter is still here.
Must be an Apex card.
Pull back the curtain a little bit here, guys. We had a little pre-game discussion sort of and just like at the last second kind of restructured the show because... 314 was all about the featherweights. You guys know that. We had the vacant title on the line. Alexander Volkanovski back on top. Patricio Pitbull debut. Yair Rodriguez trying to hold him off. We had Silva, Bryce Mitchell, one of the most talked about 145-pound fights of the year. So we had a lot of featherweight action. But, and I say this knowing it'll make people angry, arguably the talk of the town on Saturday in Miami was one Mr. Paddy Pimblett. Paddy, of course, picked up a dominant win over Jed Meshew's favorite fighter, Michael Chandler, just completely handling him on the ground, looking really good on the feet, actually, not just having to like desperation shoot. I mean, people watching those fights, the considerably larger Paddy Pimblett was winning a lot of striking exchanges, which I think people didn't expect. So looks like he's rounded out his game. Third round, ground and pound, TKO of Michael Chandler. The best performance of Paddy's career, I think we can all agree. But I don't know if we can agree on is where does Paddy land in the rankings right now? Because let's go to the UFC.com rankings real quick. The sham rankings, yes, but rankings that exist and people acknowledge. One Mr. Pimblett rose from the number 12 spot all the way up to number 8. So in the UFC's eyes, a top 10 fighter. Michael Chandler dropping down 5 spots from 7 to number 12. In our rankings, we had Paddy unranked going into UFC 314 had a vote or two. I think maybe just one vote. Maybe just our own Damon Martin had a vote.
Damon
for him,
had him at 15.
Sure. Had him at 15. And I think a lot of us was on the cusp. I think we were all kind of like 16, 17, 18 in that range. Of course, Paddy undefeated in the UFC so far. Some touch and go fights here and there. But overall, again, wins are wins, undefeated. And now knocks off someone who was number 14 in our rankings going in, Mr. Michael Chandler. So... it's not as clear cut for us as the UFC rankings. Like I said, we had Chandler pretty low. We didn't have Pimblett on the list yet. So I am very curious where you gentlemen landed with possible future lightweight title challenger, Paddy Pimblett, title Chandler. Oh gosh, I hope Michael Chandler doesn't hear this because he just got a new hashtag. number 1 title Chandler.
See you at the title Chandler.
See you at the title Chandler. It's growing on me. Like the more we say it, the better it gets. Mike, I'll go to you first. Where did you, where in your estimation would you have had Paddy before? Let's say you extended your rankings to a top 20. Would he have been in there? And where does he land now, theoretically?
I would have had him at 17 heading into UFC 314. I would have had Joel Alvarez at 16 and him at 17 because Paul Hughes jumped to 15 after his performance against Usman Nurmagomedov. I will probably have Paddy. I will say number 9. I will put him one spot above Dan Hooker and one spot behind Rafael Fiziev. That's where I'm going to have him. Chandler will be out of the rankings altogether. And yeah, that's where I'm going to have him. I'm going to have him at number 9. I'm not saying that Paddy is a better, I don't know if he's a better fighter than Dan Hooker. I don't know if he would beat Dan Hooker. I think that would be a really interesting fight. I actually think Paddy is ahead of Dan right now. So I don't even think Paddy, even though other people are suggesting it, I don't think Paddy should even entertain that idea. I think he should go after some of the bigger names that are ahead of him right now in the rankings. So yeah, number 9, but and the biggest reason why is Paddy is actually fighting people. Dan just is fighting people who's getting good wins. The Gamrot win was really fun. The Jalen Turner win was really fun. He's just so inactive right now that I have to put Paddy above him at the moment. So yeah, Paddy will be number 9.
Okay, respectable. A little bit MMA math going on there too. Let's not forget Michael Chandler beat Hooker. Paddy Pimblett just beat Chandler. So technically, if you guys, if you're working that out in your brains, it can be that simple. It should also note we had a weird moment with our rankings because Chandler had to kind of be removed. He passed our 18-month threshold for inactivity, so he was removed before the Charles Oliveira fight last year, while he was waiting for the interminable Conor McGregor matchup, which didn't occur. But then then after he lost to Oliveira, I think we were a bit divided on whether to put him back in. I didn't. He has not won a fight in a very, very, very long time. Some of us, I think a couple of us did. And after 314, it sounds like he might be out entirely. But again, we haven't done like a full update yet. Jed, where are you standing on Mr. Pimblett right now?
When we do our update, he will be number 8 in the lightweight rankings for me. He will be, and that's a number 8 that's going to be higher because Dustin Poirier is going to fight before the end of the year and then retire. And so he'll leave. Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, like those are names who probably don't have that much longer. And I also just don't really know when, like what they are doing, but I have him slotted in behind Usman Nurmagomedov, one spot above Beneil Dariush. Dariush is pretty close to falling out of our rankings as well. He hasn't fought since December of 2023. So we're in April? 2 more months and he's out. I know he was supposed to fight obviously in January, but when that fight fell through because Moicano got rebooked, Dariush still hadn't fought, so I don't really know what the hell he's doing, but it's not fist fighting people, and so I'm comfortable slotting Paddy in front of him because Paddy is fighting people and beating the tar out of them. And so, frankly, I would like to see that matchup, though I don't think that would make sense for Paddy right now, but I could absolutely see Paddy winning it. I left Saturday very, very impressed by Paddy Pimblett, and I have been impressed over the past few, couple of years. He has continued to get better and better. But even though I don't think very highly of Michael Chandler, and especially not Michael Chandler at this stage of his career, that performance from Paddy was so consummate that I left thinking, okay, this guy's got a real chance to fight for a belt. And depending how lightweight shakes out, maybe win it. A couple of years ago, I would have said Paddy Pimblett versus Ilia Topuria, slaughter. Right now, I don't know, man. Like I'd pick Topuria, but I'm still interested. I'd pick Charles Oliveira. I still kind of want to see it now. So Paddy Pimblett's my number 8 lightweight.
Yeah, number 8, and you're saying again could be number 7, assuming Poirier. This is maybe the last year Poirier competes.
Yeah, he's functionally number 7 because Poirier doesn't need to be ranked. Like rankings ostensibly are for like your place in the division and the title chase. And Poirier is specifically not chasing the belt. He is fighting once more and hanging them up. So like he is 8, but like functional 7. Okay,
so we've got so Mike, you said 9 or 8 again?
It'll be 9 for me.
9, Jed 8, essentially 7, and Mike's again same thing. I assume Poirier will come out. So we've got about 8 and 7 here. I think I'm going to surprise people. I'll go real quick, Casey. I'm going to throw to you soon, but I want to say I actually have him behind Gamrot and Hooker, so I didn't go MMA math. Like it feels weird. Yeah, I know, and I'm like Paddy Pimblett guy number one. Like I was so impressed by performance. I've been pushing him as sort of like underrated skill wise from the moment he stepped into the UFC. I was the one. So maybe I'm course correcting. I don't know, and now I'm being too hard on him now because yeah, you could put him over Gamrot, you could put him over Hooker, you could put him over Beneil now, frankly, if you wanted to, as Jed you mentioned, because Beneil just unfortunately, I mean, what a crappy way to lose your ranking. But yeah, didn't get to fight in January because the UFC needed a new main event. So it's unfortunate. So I have him 9 in the UFC rankings. But if you count Holloway, which isn't in my list right now, and Usman Nurmagomedov, he's actually outside my top 10. He'll actually slot in at number 11, I think, when we do do a full update. So I don't know. I had to process this now. I hadn't even thought about this before we started the show. He's kind of outside my top 10. I think very few people would agree with that, even if you're only doing UFC rankings, even if you took Usman out. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about myself right now. Casey, where are you with Paddy? I'm very interested because you have some Bellator guys in there. PFL guys. I don't even know what they're called anymore. Pretty high. You've got Usman, Paul Hughes, and McKee all in your top 10.
And Shabbat.
Will Paddy and not your top 10. In your top 10.
Sorry,
yeah, top 15. Will Paddy, with that performance, jump ahead of McKee and Hughes?
No, Paddy is not my top 15. Chandler.
Whoa, not in your whoa, not in your top 15.
Well, I didn't have Chandler in my top. Chandler was like maybe number 20.
Ooh, intriguing.
Yeah, Paddy Pimblett hasn't beaten anyone in the top 15 yet. He beat the worst Chandler I've ever seen, honestly. And
Who is Shabley?
Great.
Who is
I was about to say, who did Alexander Shabley beat in the top 15?
Shabley beat, let me see, let me bring his page up. I'm going, well.
The fact that you have to go look at it is a bit of a condemnation.
He had a very competitive. He had a very competitive fight with.
Yeah, he had extremely competitive fight against Usman. Umar. And
I want to be clear.
Usman. No, you mean Usman.
Yeah.
I want to be clear. Umar's the
I don't have an issue with you putting Shabley, but if the argument is Paddy hasn't beaten him in top 15,
when he beat Tawfiq, I had Tawfiq as a top 15 fighter when he beat Tawfiq, and he demolished Tawfiq. And actually, when he beat Brent Primus, I'm pretty sure Brent Primus was top 15 at that time too. So yeah, that's why I had Shabley that high, and his incredible competitive performance against Usman. And yeah, that's why I still have him. He hasn't been that active, but that's just life. Paddy only fights once a year too. Paddy's not super active too. And Chandler's not top. Chandler's top 20 to me. Chandler used to be top 10. Used to be top 5. He's not anymore.
Chandler had a competitive fight with Charles Oliveira. Casey, come on.
Which one?
What are you talking about?
The
second one. Well, the first one.
The second one.
He almost won the second one.
I mean,
I didn't buy that as far as like Joe Chandler has some cool photos. He had him on his back, and he decided to do 2 weird backflips.
Won the 5th round. He almost finished Charles in the 5th round.
He almost won.
He hurt him on the feet.
Almost won.
Almost won.
Better than Shabley did in that Usman fight. Really,
I don't think so. So Chandler had 1 good round. Shabley had 5 decent rounds against a much better, not much better. I take that back. Sorry, 2 very good fighters. Usman and Chandler, and not much better.
I hope our listeners.
So that's why. I don't. So, but even whatever, I had Chandler number 20, maybe, and he beat a top 20 guy, and he's not my top 15 though.
He didn't just beat him. He beat the shit out of him.
Hold on. Let me say.
That's my point.
My point is that was the worst Chandler I have seen. It's almost like, to me, I mean, that was like not as bad. This is a bit of extreme, but like beating John Jones beating Stipe, that was not the Stipe we know. That was not the Michael Chandler we know.
Interesting.
So Michael Chandler,
so let me say, I want to say, I hope the listeners appreciate this, because we're essentially doing a live deliberation of the rankings before they're done. Like, we usually debate the rankings after we've all had a chance to sort of look at them and prepare our flames at each other. But this is actually, again, we have not updated our rankings officially yet. We'll probably do a full divisional after UFC 315, so in about a month. So yeah, they're getting to see a live deliberation, and I'm really getting to see the inner, like the inner monkey in your guys' heads. The gears moving around. It's quite scary, but also
honestly, after hearing this, I might just put Paddy at 7 just to even out where the rankings should be. Because this, I'm sorry,
you can't do that. There is no. There is no.
I could rank him above Dustin Poirier. I could rank him above Dustin Poirier and be fine with it.
We are not in the world
right now.
It's
less egregious for me to rank him at 7 than it is to not have him in the top 15.
Oh my goodness.
Who is he beating? I don't see him. He just, to me, on my rankings, he hasn't beaten anyone in the top 15.
But you're a guy who always relies on dominance and guys just going in there, regardless of strength of schedule. You have made that point on this show many, many times. Islam Makhachev earned a title shot without beating a top 10 guy, and he was your number 1.
But he was booked against top 10 guys.
And Paddy nuked Bobby Green, and then he killed Michael Chandler, which Charles Oliveira didn't do, which nobody else in the UFC has done. Nobody has done that.
It's when they fight them. It's when they fight them, not if they beat him. Like Ryan, dude, I love Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall demolished BJ Penn. Doesn't matter. Didn't mean that he was a top 10 fighter. I mean, it's when they beat him. Chandler did
by Ilya Tapor.
For the record,
I just want to bring up Ryan Hall anytime I can.
With Ryan Hall, hold on. Let me say about Ryan Hall. Mike, let me just say about Ryan Hall. I
know.
Casey, what you mean is he was a top 10 fighter already, and beating BJ Penn did not like further cement that he was already okay.
He was already in the Mount Rushmore. We couldn't add another face. I mean, geez.
Mike, go ahead.
Right, but I mean, you can't always use that excuse because you can make a strong case that we got the worst Alexander Volkanovski against Ilya Taporia, and he got killed by Ilya Taporia. What is the difference, honestly? Like, I understand Volk had the belt, but he was coming off of a knockout loss. But you're saying we're docking him because he fought the worst fighter at the worst time. But Volkanovski was as bad as he's ever been in most people's minds when he fought Ilya Taporia and got nuked, and we credited Ilya Taporia for that. So what's the problem?
What do we
credit?
I don't understand. I didn't bump Ilya. I didn't bump Ilya down. What do you mean?
I know. We're crediting Ilya for that. Why aren't we crediting Paddy for that? When Ilya beat the worst version of Alexander Volkanovski in almost everybody's eyes, but Paddy beats the worst version of Michael Chandler and he gets no credit for it. I don't understand.
He doesn't get credit for it. Paddy's moves ahead. He's in my top 20 now. He wasn't in my top 20 before. Now he is in my top 20. That's credit.
So he just takes your Chandler spot.
He just doesn't, Mike. He just doesn't get as much credit as Alexander Shapley for a spirited defeat.
For getting 49-4.
Like, it's whatever. This is like real hipster, but it's fine.
Shapley gets ranked.
It's not hipster. Right. We're counting world rankings. We're the global rankings. It's like
Paul Hughes loses and bumps up 8 spots. What the fuck is that? After a loss. He loses and gets bumped up 8 spots.
Yeah, because we talk about the dominance of the fight, and that was an extremely close fight that could have gone to Paul Hughes.
So Paul Hughes gets more credit for losing than Paddy Pimblett does for winning and having maybe the best performance of 2025
against Michael Chandler. Yes. Yeah, because Paul Hughes would have beat Michael Chandler.
That's what he said.
And if he did, you could rank him 9. Oh,
let me say this.
If you have Chandler versus, I'm sorry, not Chandler, Paddy Pimblett versus Paul Hughes, you have Paddy Pimblett ranked higher than Paul Hughes. So, but I'm like, okay, cool. If they fought tomorrow or training camp, I would pick Paul Hughes decisively over Paddy Pimblett.
Let me step in here as the host. Let me step in here. Okay, I feel like hold on, Jed.
Would you pick Shapley over Pimblett?
Jed, before you go,
I think Shapley's really good.
Boy.
I think Shapley's really good.
That fight happened so badly.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Hey, Don Davis, release Shapley. Let's make the fight. This is on Don Davis. This isn't on me.
Paddy's minus.
This is true.
It's on Don minus 400 favorite in that.
This is what Don Davis.
Cool, because no one's ever heard of Shapley. That's cool. I don't care. That's a betting line. That's a betting line. Betting lines are based on popularity a lot. I mean,
this is what Don Davis has done to us. I will say. I think I lean more towards like with Mike and Jed. I don't agree with Casey's logic, but Casey, and I know you guys don't agree with this. I feel like Casey's logic is consistent with himself. I do feel like he has a consistent logic with the way he's done his I think so. That doesn't mean I agree with it, and it doesn't mean you guys agree with it. I feel, just from what I've heard, I do feel like he's not contradicted himself. But I could be wrong. We'll let the listeners decide, guys. We'll let the listeners decide. But I am curious. So we don't have Damon and Guy on the show. Of course, our other two rankers. I'm really curious to see what they'll do. I'll just say going into this.
Can I concede real quick that if they gave Paddy Pimblett a title shot, I'll be like, whatever, because that's the way the UFC works. Because he is extremely popular. And
no one's debating that.
So I'm talking about rankings. I'm not talking about who deserves what, because that's completely different. Rankings don't mean crap when it comes to who deserves like positions and on cards and how close they are to the title shot. Rankings are pointless.
I'm actually really glad. So we did a featherweight ranking shakeup post this week, and we'll talk about featherweights in a moment. I'm actually really glad we didn't do the lightweight one now, because we are now doing it live. We are now doing the lightweight shakeup, and listen, I imagined it would be a fantastic discussion. I think we are reflective of, again, even the entire fan base. Like probably much more the majority now, of course, is leaning towards Paddy being top 10. I mean, Chandler was perceived by at least a few people still as being at least at top 10 or near the top 10. Like like Mike and Jed have argued, the dominance just looked like, the eye test, right? If you just saw the eye test, you'd be like, oh, this is a top 10 lightweight. Like, look at this freaking guy. So he'll be, and like I said, he's top 10 in the UFC's rankings. The public perception now is top 10. And based on this discussion, Mike, I don't even think you need to do a counter ranking. I think he'll end up in the top 10 no matter what. Damon had Chandler in the number 8. Pimblett will at least jump ahead of him, unless Damon just like plummets Chandler down and slightly bumps up Pimblett. Guy did not have Chandler. I'm really curious what Guy's going to do with Pimblett, but I have a feeling you guys will see Pimblett at least the number 10 spot.
Can I throw out a bit of an olive branch? I will say
no, I don't want you to do that. They don't deserve it, Casey. They don't deserve it after the way they've come at you. I
want to be clear. I didn't come at him. I think it's a bit ridiculous. I think it's a bit ridiculous, but it is on brand.
Yeah. I came at him a little bit. He caught me on the day,
Casey.
But it's all right. It's okay.
I just lumped Jed in there. Okay.
I will say
usually I am the one.
I am the biggest bantamweight lover in the world, but I will concede lightweight is really kicking ass right now. 1 through 20. 1 through 20. I know that's how good lightweight is. I mean, we could honestly rank it 1 through 20. That's how good lightweight is. Like even going to 15. So anyone in the top 15, top 20, from like 20 to like number 5, like all those guys can beat each other. I'm not even saying I'm not saying Paddy sucks. I'm just saying he hasn't proven to me yet. But what he's shown that he is showing improvement. He is showing improvement, and he could easily beat those guys. I'm not shocked if him beating a top 5 guy, that's kind of, to me, I don't know, maybe pushing it. But going through like 20 to number 5, I can see Paddy winning or being very competitive in all those fights.
Yeah. Listen, 1 through 30. 1 through 35. This division's insane.
Wait, why did they get a laugh? Isn't that a? I'm saying.
I laughed at Jed's laugh.
Oh.
Okay. I just laughed at. I laughed at you, Casey. It's just like, because fundamentally, I'm actually not opposed. Like I said, if you want to rank Alexander Chablis, okay. I think it's a bit ridiculous, and
I'm going on his resume.
Casey, let me go. Casey, let me go. It reads hipster. It reads, oh, here are 4 PFL, whatever fighters, because I'm cool. And PFL, they're just
There's nothing cool about liking Bellator. There's nothing cool about it.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
It's being hip. It's hip. Like it reads hipster. But fundamentally, I am with
Mr.
you.
UI PFL, you love PFL gear and PFL merch you wear in the house.
I sure do. But like fundamentally, it reads hipster. But I am everybody in the top 25, like outside of the like 8 that are locked in as the top 8 or whatever of the weight class. It's relatively interchangeable. It was just deeply funny when you're like, he hasn't proven it to me. I was like, I don't know. He's consistently won and gotten better and beaten the shit out of people. And like, I like Alexander Chablis as much as I would say the next guy, but obviously you like him more than I do. Like, he barely beat Patricio Pitbull, who sucks. Like, he hasn't
Paddy Pimblett barely beat Jared Gordon, who has a great story.
The Jared Gordon fight was like 4 years ago. Pitbull was his most recent win. Like it's like
it was 2 years ago. What?
I just laughed that the claim is Shabley has proven it, and he has proven it as much as thing. And your choice is Shabley over Pimblett, and okay, sure, but Paddy needs to prove it when Shabley's putting in the work. It's just like that reads specious to me.
Okay, take out Shabley. Take out Shabley. Paddy Pimblett's number 16. Then I don't know.
I did not expect to think.
By the way, thank you for joining Team Lightweight, because that's very
that's what I'm saying. Like that's how good lightweight. That's how good lightweight is right now.
Great weight class.
Guys, I'm pressing the button. We've mentioned Alexander Shabley way too many times this episode. I never imagined this would happen. I never imagined it would ever happen.
And he's out of the tournament.
Put him in the headline.
Good Lord. I can't.
Could Paddy Pimblett beat Alexander Shabley? That's the headline.
No
spirited debate.
No podcast has ever
Don Davis
talked about
I blame Don Davis for all this.
Don Davis. I blame Don Davis, and I feel like Darren Owen's involved somehow as well. I feel like they're tearing us apart a little bit. So come on, these guys. But either way, you know what? Hey, this is great advertising for the next month's full division rankings. You guys want to know where Paddy Pimblett lands? Click on MMAfighting.com, our next rankings update. You will see. I don't think we'll have another debate over it. The debate is done. People can submit their ballots. And now you guys have new information to work with. Mike said himself, maybe he'll adjust his vote a little bit based on, Kevin, to kind of balance things out, as it were. But we can move on. Congrats to Paddy. What a win. Holy crap. I mean, one of the most talked about fighters already, and it's only getting crazier. Every podcast, every prognosticator, Chael Sonnen, Brendan Schaub, Demetrius Johnson, you name them, Michael Bisping is touting this guy as the next big thing. And it's hard not to picture it. Good. He's one fight away from a title shot, and possibly a few injuries away from just getting it right away, which is wild. All right. Featherweights. I said there was a lot of featherweight business at 314. Hopefully not a lot to debate here, guys. I will say, Jed, before you say anything, so this ranking is up, guys, on UFC.com. You can check it out. Now, we have, of course, a new man at number one, or an old man back at number one, in Alexander Volkanovski, and we had some movement with I don't know why I don't have the rankings in front of me. John Silva making a big splash, jumping from not ranked. I mean, you can call that probably 16, 17, 18, but not ranked officially outside the top 15 to the number 8 spot after a complete shellacking of Bryce Mitchell. Lerone Murphy also quietly making a big jump. I know no one's going to talk about that Josh Emmett fight by the end of the year. But Lerone Murphy, new to our top 10, jumping from 13 to number 10. And I want to remind people we include other promotions in here. So this is a really big move for him. Otherwise, Josh Emmett taking a slight bump down. Patricio Pitbull, big fall after that loss to Yair, out of the top 10. The lowest he's been, I think, since we started doing these rankings, all the way from 9 to number 13. Some may argue he should not be the top 15 anymore, but we can discuss that. But first thing I'll say is we do have Max Holloway still in there. Jed correctly pointed out to me on the night of UFC 314, probably on 3 or 4 in the morning, if we're taking Topuria out, we should probably take Holloway out, which is true, which I think is true. Obviously, Holloway hasn't done as many interviews as Topuria. I feel like Ilya has done like 90 interviews in the last 3 months or something. And, there's a lot of lightweight talk. So we're very firm in him not going back down. I think Max has mentioned on social media he's done with 145, which kind of makes sense. So, yes, we probably should take him out. He will be gone by the next update. Just kind of an oversight on my part, personally. So, Jed's right. That's right. Max shouldn't be there unless anyone disagrees. We'll probably take Max out soon, right?
Chepe Mariscal, you should be ranked, buddy.
Oh,
sorry.
Sorry. Chepe is robbed. Was Chepe our number one Favre?
I have no idea. Chepe was.
You know what?
You got a point.
Chepe was my number 15 until you were like, "Hey, you need to put Max back in." I was like, "That doesn't make any sense."
I don't have you, and you were right. I had just
Alvin Cater could have got back in the rankings. I mean, there's a couple of guys that missed out here.
I think it would be Dan Ige. I'm pretty sure Dan Ige would be number 15. If
Dan Ige crept back to my number 15 after Saturday.
Right.
So
yeah. He is our highest Favre, our highest fighter receiving votes. He's got 3 votes, which I assume would be more than the other two. Kleber Koike showing up on a couple, and Calvin Cater with one vote. But yes, so sorry. Apologies, Dan Ige. You should be back in the featherweight rankings. You've been there before. You should be back. And he got a win at UFC 314 too. Controversial or not, great performance. Up 2 cards anyway, right? We had a bad stoppage, but up 2 cards anyway. Maybe Sean Woodson does a crazy comeback. But either way. So that 15 spot would have been Dan Ige or Sean Woodson, but it is Dan Ige.
Yeah,
he holds
on.
The
good news is Giga Chikadze is going to lose again next Saturday, and then he's going to be out of the top 15 of everybody's rankings all of a sudden, and then the world will be a better place. Yeah, he's not in mine and hasn't been for a while. So
Giga fought in like 4 years.
He did. He fought Arnold Allen.
He got beat up by Arnold Allen, and now he's going to lose to an unranked guy next Saturday, more than likely. So
if he doesn't, though,
we'll open it up.
He's in my 15 spot. If he wins, sorry, Giga's holding on to that 15 spot. Probably don't know what to tell you.
That's fine.
He ain't going nowhere. Yeah.
Wait, why do I have Giga so high? Maybe that's
I don't know. Casey, you may want.
I think
probably an oversight.
I didn't want to stir up another.
No, that's fine. That's fine. I think I kind of.
It happens.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a mistake. Yeah, I think
he hasn't lost anybody.
I'm living like in 2021. Yeah,
I guess that's it.
Giga.
Yeah.
Giga just hasn't lost anybody below him, so
I do want to talk about one of the gentlemen who dropped. Of course, Patricio Pitbull. We're also happy to see him finally sign with the UFC. We wish this had happened, 2 or 3 years ago, because with respect to what he did in Bellator, we didn't get a lot of like marquee matchups within the last couple of years with Pitbull. I think that's fair to say. I know people go, oh, what about like Chihiro Suzuki knocking him out in Ryzen? Like that was like this last minute weirdo thing, like a cool moment in retrospect. At the time, if Pitbull had just beaten him, you would never be talking about that fight or Chihiro Suzuki ever again. I mean, it just wasn't. And Chihiro's not a bad fighter. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying like it's not been memorable past couple of years for Patricio in Bellator. Here he is in the UFC.
Don Davis.
Okay, let me see here. Let's see what we did. Damn you, Darren Owen. Let's see what we did here with Pitbull. Damon dropped him out completely. Mike, you've dropped him to the edge, number 15. Casey, you dropped him considerably too, number 13. It looks like we all dropped him out of the top 10 except for Guy, keeping him at number 9. Support your Brazilian, Guy. I respect it. But yes, he falls to number 13 in our rankings. How do you guys feel about this? Are we giving him too much respect? Did we give him too much respect before? Is the whole Pitbull ranked, title contender thing? Is it over? Is it over? For reference, before you guys go, of course, we kind of talked about this on Fight Night. You had guys good fighters make lukewarm debuts before. Anthony Pettis lost to who did he lose to? Clay Guida.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Did I make that up?
Yep.
Eddie Alvarez, that ugly split decision with Cowboy Cerrone. But very different circumstances. And then both guys went on to win UFC titles. Brock Lesnar lost his UFC debut, correct. Very different circumstance for all these guys, of course. Pettis was 24 years old. Eddie Alvarez was 30 years old. Pitbull, 37 years old, and was 43 fights into his pro career going into the Yair Rodriguez fight. So very different, but if you want to...
he fought probably the toughest guy to come into.
Yes, he fought tough.
Of all the competition. Cerrone and yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Definitely. But that's what he wanted. And if he had won, the prize would have been fantastic. But we're not there. So, Jed, what are your thoughts on the whole Pitbull thing? Was it too high before? Should we have dropped him earlier, just from not fighting the best competition? I don't know where you land. What's his future? Where do you land with him, Jed? Give me some Pitbull talk.
We probably should have dropped him earlier just because he hasn't fought at featherweight a bunch lately. He did just the sort of one-off weirdness, but we were just giving him the respect of his long tenure. And I'll be honest, that's why he is still ranked. I strongly consider dropping him out because there are young dudes on big win streaks, Chepe Mariscal, Steve Garcia, some of those guys we mentioned, who I think have a credible claim to be at the back end of this. But, figured one last cycle, let Pitbull hold on to a number. Let's give him one last chance to fight somebody in the UFC and get a win and hold, maintain position. But I don't begrudge anybody dropping him out completely. His past few years have not particularly been inspiring. So I think probably the back end of the rankings is right. So big picture, I'd say we're on point here.
Yeah, I have him at 12, one spot ahead of Youssef Zalal at number 13, which just feels bad. It just feels wrong right now. Again, it's recency bias. We just saw a very poor performance from Pitbull. Youssef has looked fantastic in his second run with the UFC. But it feels icky. It feels icky inside. Mike, you dropped him down to 15. How's he hanging on there? Was there any thought to just dropping him out completely? Why'd you keep him on?
I tried everything in my power to get him out of the rankings. I really did. And I couldn't. I couldn't put Steve Garcia there. I couldn't put Chepe there. I couldn't put Cater there. I just couldn't justify getting him completely out of there, but I could not have him any lower than 15 because he was, if you could actually screenshot and screen grab the process of this, he was in and out probably at Baker's dozen times before I just left him in there and I was just tired of playing around with it. I did not like what I saw at all on Saturday. I think Yair took it easy on him. Really, I think he did because there were certain points in that fight where I think Yair could have melted him at any point. And you could kind of see it. And Yair was kind of cautious, almost got him out of there in round 3. And I think Yair, even when he dropped him in round 3, instead of jumping into his guard, he could just stood Pitbull back up and just got him out of there. So I think Yair was, looked at a man who he had a ton of respect for, didn't want to hurt the man, and still had a dominant performance, but unfortunately for him, it just wasn't the performance that people were like, yeah, we got to give this guy a title shot, especially with Volkanovski winning. He has no chance of getting a title fight right now, barring injuries or anything like that. There's just no interest in that fight. It was just real tough to watch Pitbull, man, because I didn't think he was going to win. I didn't think he'd make it the full 15, but I at least hoped to come out of that fight being like, all right, this guy could get a couple of wins and at least put himself in position to fight some decent competition, some what-if matchups in the past that we wanted but may not have ever gotten otherwise. And now sort of looking up and down this list of the guys I have ranked ahead of Pitbull right now, I can pretty confidently say I would not pick Patricio Pitbull to beat either of those fighters. I would not pick him to beat Dan Ige. I would not pick him to beat Yusuf Zalal. Maybe Josh Emmett if he could score takedowns, but even then, I don't love that either. Lerone Murphy, no. Aaron Pico, no. Sterling, no. John Silva, no. And then kind of going up the list, like, it's not, the question for me is not, can Pitbull be a title contender? Because that ship has sailed. It's, can he beat a single top 15 fighter? And also, and I'm dead serious when I ask this, and it hurts my feelings that I have to ask this, can he beat a top 25 featherweight right now? Because there are guys on the come up. I would pick Steve Garcia to beat Pitbull. I would pick Chippy Mariscal to beat Pitbull right now. Calvin Kattar would be an interesting fight, but
I was going to say he could beat Kattar.
Yeah, maybe
he could beat Aljo,
but I wouldn't pick him though.
I wouldn't pick him either. Josh Emmett would be fun. I could see that fight going his way,
maybe
or the opposite.
Could beat Chikaze.
Edson Barboza would be interesting because they're kind
I
of.
I never thought Chikaze was good, ages. So I'm a bad person to answer for that question. I always thought Chikaze sucked.
But I think Giga could. I think Giga would have a good chance of beating Pitbull because he's got decent takedown defense and he's way faster now. Like he's way quicker.
And he just kick a bunch, and Pitbull doesn't have the.
Yeah,
Giga probably beats him.
He looked every bit of 36 on Saturday, and I was like, man, I was hoping he wouldn't look every bit of 36 on Saturday. I didn't think he had a chance of beating Yair, but I was hoping to take some positives out of there. 37, excuse me, even worse. That makes me feel even sadder. Yeah, there's good, I would like to see them give him a winnable fight, a fight he could win where he'd be favored. Give him one win before we throw him to the land of let's build other people's names off of this guy because he is heading there and it stinks, man. I wish we got Pitbull 3 years ago in the UFC.
Yeah. Well, that's actually
the Kid Yamamoto run.
Oh, don't say that. Oh gosh, That was tough. That was tough to watch. R.I.P. Kid. R.I.P. Kid. That's actually segues nice into this, Mike, because Casey and I have been pretty big Pitbull supporters. I think so. We, outside of Damon dropping him completely, Casey and I had the biggest drops. I actually had the biggest one. I had him at 6 going to 314. I dropped him to 12. Casey, you dropped him 5 spots. So we both
from 8. Yeah.
From 8. So we both had to. Our boy took a hit. We're both cool guy Bellator fans. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. We're both cool guy Bellator fans. And how much that? I mean, Casey, were we wrong? Were we wrong?
No.
I'm saying, were there signs he should have been dropped sooner? Like the Chihiro fight was a weird one because it was at a catch weight. It was literally the last second fight.
Didn't take the fight 2 days notice or something?
No, 2 days notice.
It was nothing. He was there. As a training partner. He wasn't even.
I know, but I guarantee there are people there who saw that fight and said, "I'm dropping him in." Whatever people who keep their rankings, I'm dropping him in the rankings. Like it's just a loss, knockout loss, no less. But we kept him up there. We kind of just ignored it like a side thing. And again, he's got other wins against, maybe not top 20, top 25 guys, but he kept winning some other fights. Should we have dropped him sooner? Just as other featherweights forget. I don't know. Now I'm doubting myself.
I'm having ranking. So coming into that fight, I had Pitbull ranked at 8. And I had Yair ranked at 9. Mm-hmm. I picked Pitbull to win that fight. Yair won that fight pretty decisively. That's just Yair looked good, decent. Pitbull looked he didn't look as washed as Chandler, but he clearly is. This isn't the Pitbull we remember. This is golden years Pitbull, and I just hope he gets a couple more fights, makes a couple of paychecks, and maybe gets one decent win before he just calls it a day. But I don't think we had him highly ranked. It's just he's been here a long time. It's just this is how it goes. You guys go up the ranks and then slowly start moving down.
He's hung on for a long time though. He was in the pound for pound after he beat Chandler for the lightweight title. He was high. Like we had
deservedly so.
Sure, of course. Absolutely, absolutely.
Time moves on.
It's a precipitous fall now. He's already out of our pound for pound. He's still getting some votes in pound for pound. I might be one of them. I'm not sure. Maybe it's Key. I don't know. But he's out of our pound for pound. He's been for a while, I think. Listen, nice to see Pitbull in the UFC, but it was this might be the beginning of the end, right? Hey, maybe he proves us wrong. Much stranger things have happened. Like I said, we just named a bunch of considerably younger stars.
I'm not putting him in a coffin like the gentleman above me is. But I do still think like Pitbull can beat a top 20 guy and be competitive against anyone in the top. Outside the top 10. Top 10 and above. That's gonna be just bad news because those guys are really good, and Pitbull is just not there right now.
And let me clarify. I'm not saying Pitbull can't win those fights. I'm not saying he cannot win. I just would not pick him after what I saw. And I agree with you, Casey. I don't look at him as just like this dude is. I don't look at him like Tony Ferguson. This is not a Tony Ferguson-esque dire situation for Pitbull. He can hang at least. I don't know, man. Again, it's just one of those things where like I wish it was 3 years earlier. I really do. Would have been interesting. And it just he's such a weird what if too, because without Bellator, if Pitbull just came into the UFC a decade ago, would he have the fanfare? Would it be the same kind of success? I don't know. Would he have the same push, the same promotional backing that he got from Bellator? And I don't know. So he is one of the weirdest what ifs in the sport when it comes to just, if this guy was in the best organization in the sport, fighting the best dudes that we all hoped he could fight, if we could have these fantasy matchups between promotion and promotion. Like, I don't even know what that would have looked like if he just skipped Bellator altogether. It's just weird.
There's almost no way he becomes a 2-division champion in the UFC. Like there's just like a zero chance, right?
No way.
But he is forever, 2-time Bellator, 3-time featherweight champion, and
knocked out Michael Chandler.
Zero. Maybe he knocks out Michael Chandler in the UFC. That could still very well have happened. But all the title accolades. Chasing a third title. There's no way that happens in the UFC. So he's definitely a case of being like a big fish in a smaller pond was like so beneficial to the legend of Pitbull. And again, maybe he would have been featherweight champion UFC. We don't know. But all that other stuff, I think there's just almost no chance. I don't know. Jed, you're making a face.
Oh, you just wouldn't have been. I think it would have been cooler if he came a couple years ago, a decade ago. And I don't think anyone would talk about Patricio Pitbull. He would be a very good fighter who fights for a belt one day and never wins it, because at no point was he ever going to beat Jose Aldo or Max Holloway or Alexander Volkanovski or Ilia Topuria. He was never that good to beat those all-time great fighters. And that's kind of what, the peak of featherweight is just so unbelievably high that Pitbull, being an exceptional featherweight in his own right, is still just nope, not as good as those dudes. It would have been cooler if he came a couple of years ago and we could have had a Michael Chandler run from him of, hey, look, he's still got enough juice to beat top guys. He can come in, be immediately exciting. Maybe we shotgun him to a title fight for the legacy of it. And instead, the last couple of years, especially because the last couple of years are just not that significant to his overall Bellator arc. Right? He got to fight Pettis and try to win a third belt, but he failed. Had he won it, maybe that's a little different. It's just, had he come over a couple of years, it would have been better. But this is what we got. And I like I said, I think we're going to get a Kid Yamamoto run here where it's just he's way too late to the party and it's going to be more sad than it is fun.
I'm glad I brought up this fun topic. Oh my gosh, this is Casey. You have something positive to send us out on?
No, I'm just kind of wondering. Like, I mean, now we're kind of doing hindsight, but
we're eulogizing. We're eulogizing.
Yeah, like,
he's still fighting. He just fought.
Yeah. Is this a damn they were good episode all of a sudden for Pitbull?
Oh, does he get one?
We're just transitioning.
Jed? Oh, he'll get one. If we ever do it again, he'll get one.
No, I'm just wondering. Like, I mean, how different it would have been. You know, Michael Chandler. He comes in, fights Dan Hooker. You know, Dan Hooker's Dan Hooker. Like, someone coming into the UFC and fighting someone like a top 5. I don't know. What was Yair ranked? Oh, he just came off the Ortega loss.
Yeah, top 5, top 6. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible jump up in competition to come to the UFC and that's your first guy you fight. I just wonder
Hooker was
if
a top 10 dude when Michael Chandler fought him. That's why Michael Chandler got a title fight.
Yeah. It would have been interesting if it was like like if it was Josh Emmett or if it was like Calvin Cater, if it was maybe even
Bryce Mitchell. He came in, Pitbull versus Bryce Mitchell the first time.
Sure.
You know, I don't know.
There's a lot of.
That's just how it is. Matchups. That's how the sport is. You know, he came in. He swung big and it missed, and now we find out.
MMA what ifs, guys. Let's go to the other side of things now. Again, talking about another big winner, UFC 314. Not another big winner, but a big winner at featherweight in UFC 314. Excuse me. Jackson Jean de Silva, or as we know him, Jean Silva, having a magical run to the UFC so far. Just the personality is out there. His team is crushing it. He looks like he's a surefire future title challenger. 5-0 in the UFC now. All finishes. 2 performance of the night bonuses. Fight of the night with Drew Dober. Guy's a complete maniac. Took care of business against Bryce Mitchell. We'll give him his flowers in this, I think, in this segment, because I don't know if he'll be number 1 for you guys, but I do want to sort of steal an idea I saw from Chael and DC on their podcast as far as ranking the Fighting Nerds team in order of who wins a title first. And I want to specify who wins a title. Who has the best chance of winning a title? Not who gets to a title shot. Who do you guys think has the best chance of actually winning a belt? So, you know, divisional strength is going to play a large part in this discussion. For those at home, playing at home, I'm referring, of course, to Jean Silva, Caio Borralho at middleweight, Mauricio Ruffi at lightweight, Carlos Prates at welterweight. And I'm assuming neither of us are gonna have Carreño Silva or Bruno Brazil at the top. So I just want to mention them because they are both associated with Fighting Nerds now. I'm guessing neither of them are cracking the top 4. Like, you're not putting those names ahead of the others. Maybe I'm wrong. But yes, I sent you guys these names before, so you've had time. I'll ask, who wants to go first? Who wants to present their homework first?
I'll go first.
Jed. Keener.
I mean, this should come as very little surprise to most people who follow my work. I have been, I believe, the biggest supporter of Jean Silva of anybody in the space, certainly as big as anybody has been of him. He is my number 1 choice. I will repeat a thing I wrote this week in the mailbag column, which I think is coming out like right now as we are speaking. He is not the best of the Fighting Nerds. I do believe the best Fighting Nerd is Caio Borralho, but middleweight is a bit of a tougher weight class. Even though as high as he is currently undergoing some issues to sort of get into the title fight. Imavov is refusing to fight him functionally, and that is the fight that makes the most sense in the world. And so I don't really know how that breaks out. What with the middleweight title picture, Khamzat Chimaev in consideration, Imavov, I guess, technically in front of Borralho. They just might take a while. And even if he gets there, we all know Dricus du Plessis is my boy, so I can't really be picking against him. Jean Silva is, I think, the second best of the Fighting Nerds, so you could really change that up. Mauricio Ruffi is kind of really, really good as well. But if he fought Alexander Volkanovski tomorrow, this is a hot take. I would pick Jean Silva to win that fight. I thought Alexander Volkanovski delivered an exceptional performance against Diego Lopes. I've watched that fight a couple of times, and my main takeaway is Alexander Volkanovski is an incredible all-time great fighter. Diego Lopes is who I thought he was, and my breakdown of that fight going in was Diego Lopes is a dangerous guy who does not have a lot of ideas, and as long as Alexander Volkanovski's chin doesn't just crumble to dust the first time he's hit. This is the exact sort of matchup he will thrive in because Volkanovski has nothing but ideas. He has so many ideas, so smart and tactical that he is going to mute all of Lopez's offense, and then he's going to have nothing. That's pretty much exactly what happened. Lopez just had no idea how to get to him, did not have the technical capability or the footwork too. Jean Silva does. Jean Silva is fast. He is, I believe, faster than Volkanovski. He has a depth of ideas and tools, and he hits real hard. And I do think Volk's durability is not what it once was. So if they fought tomorrow, I'd pick him. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think he's one away because featherweight is a bit in transition. You know, there's some names moving around, and he had so much hype around him for this event. I think they're going to give him a big opportunity. I like his chances to win whoever that big opportunity comes against. And if it's Movsar Evloev who's the champion, I probably like that a little bit less for Jean Silva. But if Volk still has the belt by the time he gets there, I like Jean Silva's chances. So Jean Silva is my number 1. Kyle Browley is my number 2. Number 3, I will go Mauricio Ruffy. Who he didn't dazzle me coming off Contender Series in general, but like he has since he's got a little spark to him. I'm not sure that he'll ever get there, and lightweight is really, really hard. But he does bring just sort of this incredible offense to bear that can go real far, and particularly with the branding. And then Carlos Prates, who I love Carlos Prates. I find he is deeply fun. I don't think there's a chance he wins the welterweight belt. I think that he was always destined to just be a super fun dude who is beloved because of the way he fights, how he gets down, goes about his business. I'm pretty sure Machado Gary is going to beat him in that fight coming up next week, and so he will be my number 4.
Jed, Mike, and I discussed this briefly. On to the next one. You're the no bets barred man. Opening line for Silva Volkanovski if it's announced tomorrow.
Volk's the betting favorite, probably minus 220, 250.
Minus 2. Oh,
that's higher than I had it.
I think most people look at that fight, and because all I've heard is that Alexander Volkanovski is the greatest fighter who's ever lived coming off that. And he was
consensus, Jed, consensus.
That sounds really like me shitting on him. And it's not, because the performance is great, but there's not been a lot of nuanced. Well, actually, Diego Lopes was a really limited fighter, and we all said this beforehand. But no, everyone forgot it immediately because they just want to heap praise on this very noteworthy and incredible achievement that Volkanovski had there. So I think people will not remember that Lopes was a very flawed contender in general and just think, oh, he's back. He's all the way back, and I do not believe he's all the way back.
You jumping on Silva plus 200?
100%.
Day one, Silva plus 200.
I've thought about this a lot, and I know that I have a reputation, and people will call me a hater. I would confidently pick Jean Silva to win that fight. I could be wrong, could absolutely be wrong. I would confidently pick him to win that fight.
Is that a hipster pick? Is that hipster?
It's not like Bellator cool.
Okay, I don't know what hipster means anymore, so I'm going to go. All right.
If you don't know what it means, then it means you do know what it means.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. I'm actually more surprised that you had Prates last. But so, Mike, I'm curious. Did you also have Prates last? And I assume Silva number 1, but maybe not. What does your top 4 look like? In what order, Mike?
So my hot take is I'm just going to throw this out there. Neither of these guys are going to be a UFC champion.
Okay.
So I'll just put that out there. I think Braulio will fight for the belt first. Honestly, I think Nasruddin Imavov, if we are to believe that he truly turned down that fight, this is terrific news for Kyle Bahalio. Honestly, I don't think it gets any better for him. It almost guarantees him a title fight in his next fight. Like if they do DDP versus Hamzat, Kyle's going to be next in line. They will look at him before they look at Nasruddin, and they will give Nasruddin a tough fight against someone who is not as known. Like if Ikram Aliskerov wins his next fight, they're going to do like, all right, Nasruddin, now you got to fight Ikram Aliskerov, and just like a high risk, low reward situation, because Dana has publicly said this many times. Don't turn down fights, especially big ones, or else you have to pay the consequences. And Nasruddin Imavov, while he looked great, while he just knocked out Israel Adesanya, that's wonderful. The only fight that made any sense in everybody's eyes was him fighting Bahalio. And now if he is truly to have turned that down, Bahalio, keep talking your shit, man, because all that's going to do is help you out in a big way. So I will say Bahalio gets there first. I'll say Silva 2, because I don't know if he's 1 win away, but he could be. He could very well be 1 win away, depending on how this shakes out. Volk winning, I think, kind of hurts Silva a tad, because if Loyev's going to be next, and then we kind of have to wait. If Yair and Lopes have a big fight at UFC 320, I know Volk has beat both those guys. But if Yair goes out there and just cooks up something special in Mexico and looks like a superstar, UFC will probably pivot to that rematch before they go to Silva. I'll go Praxis 3, because welterweight is welterweight. Because even if he loses to Gary, he can win his next 3 fights pretty easily and get right back in that position. Rufi, I'll put at 4, mostly because it's lightweight. He might be the best dude of the 4, but I just don't know, because he's in the best division of all.
That's what they say.
And then Karine Silva at 5, who look, he just lost to Viviane Araújo, man. But if she went in there and won that fight, like, she's fighting like a top 5 flyweight in her next fight. Like, she's right there. So and trust me, as a man who picked her in the fantasy draft last year, that one hurt my soul. I was feeling real good about that pick. And if you had asked me this question in September of last year, Karine Silva might be like number 2 on the list. But yeah, not a great fight against Araújo. So yeah, I mean, when I say I don't think either of these fighters are going to win belts, this is not me pooping on them. This is me praising them for being incredible and putting themselves in this position as a sensational team. Having a team full of like top 5 fighters in almost every weight class is ridiculous. And my hat goes off to all of them. And if one of these fighters gets UFC gold wrapped around their waist, I will be happy to come on the show and say, hey, I was wrong. Congratulations. Well done. They're a great team, man. So good on them.
Wow. So over under 0.5, you're going under, Mike. You're going under. You don't think
champions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go under. But
and
it's not a knock on them.
Oh, I'll go over.
You'd go over. You assuming John Silva
can
get that.
I'd go under 1.5, but one of these dudes is going to get a belt.
One of these is okay. Interesting. KC, where did you go with this? And again, do you think any of them will? Because Mike is saying doesn't even think the Fighting Nerds will bring a title home. So Mike, Casey, where'd you go?
Well, how you rank? I'm disturbed by the lack of respect and erasure of Mikhail Olejniczak. What's his name?
Yes. Oh yeah. Wow. Yes. You really showed us though. Yeah. Michael Olejniczak. Yes. Actually, you're right. You got it. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. Jeez. Come on. Mike.
Also victorious at UFC. Also victorious UFC 314.
Yes.
And honorary member. I suppose. I guess he's with them full time.
He had the glasses. Yeah, they were
This is true. Yeah. That's But, if you wear the glasses, you're by the team.
I definitely think that pretty much what you guys said. I think Kyle is actually the best fighter. But in terms of actually winning the title, I do agree that Silva with just his star-making performance, he's easy to sell, and he's definitely a fight finisher, and I wouldn't pick him to beat Volk, but wouldn't be surprised either. So Kyle's the best fighter, but Silva's got the best chance to win. And number 3, Karine Silva.
Number 3. Wow, I was telling you guys not to count Karine Silva and Bruno Brazil, but you've gone off. You've ignored me as usual and gone very high. But I think Mike explained as well that flyweight's not super deep. I mean, you string together a couple of top 10 wins, you're fighting for a title. And again, we don't know if that title is going to be vacated soon. That totally leaves the spot up for grabs. And Karine Silva could within a year. I don't know if you won half of that equation. I have no idea. I'll just say I had practiced probably a lot higher than you guys. I would have John Silva number 1. But I would have Praxis number 2. And I'll only say this because if he beats Gary, I think the sky is the limit. I think if he beats Gary and does so in impressive fashion, I think it like totally recalibrates what we think of this guy. So maybe that's in my mind. That's our next main event around the corner a couple of weeks from now. And I guess I was thinking, wow, he does that. I don't know. I could see him maybe giving Bilal Muhammad a run for his money, or Jack Della Maddalena, or I don't want to say Islam Makhachev, but we don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he's going to come to 170 should that happen. But I have Praxis 2. I would have Praxis 2. Rufi, like you guys said, might be the best. I just couldn't put him higher than 4 just because it's lightweight. Lightweight is so deep. I have no idea how he gets to a title shot. It's there. The guy is insanely exciting, insanely fun to watch. And Kaio, I would put lower just because I'm just picturing him in DDP. I don't know. I don't like him to beat DDP. I don't like him to beat Hamza. I just can't see him winning the title. So I would go with Jed, I'd probably take the over, but not if it was 1.5. I think maybe what we get one belt out of these guys, and there's no shame in that because we rarely talk about any team these days and going like, oh, how many titles could this team win? Unless you're talking one of those super camps, which is like 25, 30 fighters in the UFC. So very impressive.
I'd be really surprised if none of them won a belt. Not because like individually they're all just overwhelming, right? Like you can pick holes, but just like whenever we see this. When was the last time we saw a camp come out of nowhere to sort of take over the imagination of the sport and not win a belt? Like City Kickboxing won multiple belts. This is the team, whatever Eagle fight team, Abdul Manap, whatever they call that team. I don't know, came out and they have won multiple belts. When you occasionally, I've mentioned this on a show recently, one of the things I really do love about this sport is that just some random dudes in some location who nobody's ever heard of can figure out a new way to approach it and be dominant. And that is what the Fighting Nerds have done. Like, this is not a hallowed camp or whatever, just like some dudes who worked it out. Like, oh, here's what we're going to do. They all focused on it. And every time that happens, at least one dude gets a belt. So I'd be pretty shocked if one of them didn't find a way to a title.
SBG Ireland, 2 UFC titles. Guy that captured the lightweight and featherweight belt. What an illustrious roster we got from there. So, all right, Fighting Nerds. Hey, we're all talking about it. Casey, go ahead.
If Proches beats Gary, that completely flips everything.
Yeah, it really. That's my thinking.
I mean, everything's like, oh my god, yeah. And anyway, it can be. You said impressive. If he just gets a W and beats Gary over 5 rounds, I think. Actually, I'll be actually more impressed if he can actually beat him over 5 rounds, honestly.
Yeah. But then,
as far as his long-term,
but then what happens?
Overall.
Like,
you fight Sean Brady.
I guess that's tough.
Or a title fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be super tough, but beating Gary.
That's why I put Pratis at the bottom. I think he's going to lose anyway, but also there's just a bunch of people right in the mix, and Islam is quietly also right in the mix if Jack Della can pull off some miracle next month. So it's just a harder road than I think anybody else has for them.
All right, guys, we are through the first. Well, I guess past the first quarter of 2025. We now only have 3 pay-per-view events left. 3 pay-per-view events left coming up before the half of the year. 315, 316, 317. So our last ranking of this episode, guys, will be what are your 5? I should have made it 3 for time purpose. Let's go 5 so you can talk whatever you want. 5 most anticipated fights coming up. We have several title fights. We have several compelling main events, but we have a lot of really, really intriguing undercard fights. I actually think the majority of my list is undercard fights, not main or co-mains, but I could be wrong. So I'm very interested to hear what you guys have to say. Casey, let me actually start with you. I'm curious what your list looks like. Yeah. We're throwing to Casey first. You guys didn't see that one coming. Yeah.
The list you gave me, for personal reasons, Murad versus O'Malley too. So I get some more points on my fantasy team.
Nice.
Oh my god! I should have made a disclaimer. We are ignoring,
and that's why I don't do this stuff, because then everything's just thrown off. My biases are just whatever. It's true. But I
love that for you, Casey.
Yeah, you're ruining me, Jed. I'm so pure. Let me see. Pena Harrison, just because I want to see it.
Should I come back to you so you can have a second to look at some of the other upcoming fights that are not like mains and co-mains and title fights? Because I sent out a list of just the quote unquote big fights coming up, but there's so many weird ones and fun ones. I'll tell you, my list is completely stupid. Who has their homework prepared? Class, who has? Raise your hands, Mike.
I'm ready. I'm going. Yeah. I decided just to be the low-hanging fruit guy. If there is a quote-unquote hipster amongst you, I don't mind it at all. I'm actually going with the most recent main event, the one that's coming up next. Number 1, Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Pratis. I am intrigued by the matchup. Let's see how Gary bounces back from a tough loss. He's very confident, and let's see if Carlos Pratis is the dude. Because if he goes out there and just kicks Ian Machado Gary in the face and gets another knockout, I'm very interested to see how far he can go. Love that fight. Number 2, another non-title fight. It's the main event the following week in lovely Des Moines, Corey Sandhagen versus Davison Figueiredo. Let's see what Figgy Smalls is up to after that sort of super fun fight with Petr Yan. Sandhagen is just the guy that can't get over the hump. Let's see if he can start getting back there. Number 3, Pena versus Harrison, because one, I think Juliana Pena has a much better chance than people are giving her credit for. I want to see if Kayla Harrison can cut that extra pound and get to 135. And Amanda Nunes is apparently going to be awaiting the winner. So women's bantamweight is about to get a little more exciting, and that's good for everybody. Number 4.
I thought you were going to say explode. I thought you were going to say women's bantamweight is about to explode. And I'd be like, yes, my best friend. Sell it.
No, it's not going to.
No? Okay.
He's not going to. Because after Nunes fights one of these women, then it's just the rest of the division. And that's a tough place for everybody.
All right.
Number 4, again, because of the questions that it needs to answer, Bilal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena. Do I think this is going to be the most exciting fight of all time? No. Do I think JDM is going to pull off the upset? No. But at least we have answers, right? What's Islam Makhachev going to do? Is he going to fight Ilia Topuria, or is he going to go up and fight and vacate the belt and go fight for the welterweight belt? Like, at least we'll know after that fight ends exactly what's going to happen. And then number 5, the co-main event for UFC 315. I'll go with Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. Shevchenko looked great in her last fight against Alexa Grasso, but Manon Fiorot's looked great and against everybody. And as Jed Meshew likes to say, especially in women's MMA, especially in these women's divisions, the hosses, it's a great cheat code. And Manon Fiorot is a hoss. She's just bumping everybody through there, just out muscling everybody. And if she could do that to Valentina Shevchenko, be a great story for the French MMA scene if Manon Fiorot can become a UFC champ. So definitely intrigued by that matchup, whether these are going to be the most thrilling fights or different topics altogether, but stakes, questions answered. I like all 5 of those fights.
All right, Mike, you went with intriguing. I think that describes all the fights on your list. I'll go with that. Very different from my list, I'll say that. Jed, did you go a little deeper? Are you sticking with mains, co-mains, title fights? What are you looking forward to?
I didn't know I could go deeper, so I stuck with the list you gave me.
I told you guys. I left a hold on. I left a note in Slack. It says you do not have to stick to this list. It specifically says that. I just want that to do not blame the teacher. All right, the students, chose to stick with the initial instruction.
You left us a novel, and realistically, it's also like probably correct. Actually,
I'm putting these show notes in the podcast so people can see.
I'm going to audible one fight of my list.
Okay.
Because I actually don't think it would have changed that much anyway had I thought about it. Number 1, it's Sandhagen Figueiredo. That Great fight just slaps, which is a banger. So the people of Des Moines, Iowa get a good one. I'm just really my list is entirely things I am the most interested to see, and that is number 1. Number 2, I inverted Mike's top 2. The IMG, Ian Machado Gary versus Carlos Prates main event, the next weekend, Kansas City. I think IMG is going to win that fight, but that's just a banger. And so I like Ian Machado Gary as a fighter. I know people don't feel the same way about him. I very much enjoy him as a fighter, and Carlos Prates is obviously everybody's darling, so that's terrific. I then went Shevchenko Fior, just because Valentina Shevchenko is at worst like the 3rd greatest female fighter of all time. And, she's in the illustrious GOAT room when there are the 10 GOATs gathered amongst men and women's division. She's got to pass into, behind the velvet rope. And Fiorot is a very interesting matchup. I don't think that fight will be that fun, but I am pretty interested to see how much Shevchenko still has left in the tank. So she beat Fiorot. I guess she could just do this forever and she'll just never lose other than the occasional Alexa Grasso fight that happened. So that one. Then I have Pena versus Harrison. I think I know how this fight is going to go. So mainly this is more like I would like Harrison to win. I think that opens up more opportunities. And then that does lead to Harrison Nunes, which is obviously fantastic. And previously I was going to go Jamal Hill, Khalil Roundtree because that fight's fun. But now that I know that I don't have to pick main events, and shout out to Baku for that one, probably like number two answer of this is a man very dear and near to my heart. Joel Alvarez versus Benoit Saint Denis is just absolute anarchy in a cage. And that could main event a pay-per-view, and I'd give you $80 to watch that fight. That fight is gonna rock. So 100% that's in my top 5.
All right.
Great pick.
That's
easily the best thing that's happening at UFC 315 by a country mile.
What? Casey, I'm gonna go to you, and I'll tell you something. Now that I've given you a little bit of a chance to look into some of the other fights, if there's one fight that if it's not on there, I'm gonna be very disappointed in you.
I'm really excited to see Aaron Blanchfield versus Macy Barber. Sure. I still think I'm still high on the Aaron. I'm still on the Aaron Blanchfield hype train. Both women are under 26. Both women aren't even in their fighting prime yet. Barber's on a 6-fight win streak. Now she's actually going to be I think she just beat Caitlin. What's her name? Seminar now.
Seminar.
Seminar. Beat Caitlin Seminar very decisively. So I just love. Might not be the most exciting fight, but just two hosses. I mean, well, not hosses. They're growing into their hossness, I think.
Lady hosses.
Lady hosses, yes. So I like that fight a lot. Yeah, that's the main one. And just, everything's good. Pena Harrison.
How?
Want to see it?
Buddy, come on. There's such an obvious.
This is such a Casey. This is like a Casey pick. A young man returning to the UFC.
That wasn't even the one I
was about to say that. I was going to say my third one, Horiguchi coming back.
Okay.
I want to see. That was the one I thought you were going to say, Casey.
What were you thinking? What were you thinking, Jed?
What am I missing?
Casey's guy, a fight that we were supposed to get earlier this year, and then Brandon Royval couldn't do it, and now it's rebooked.
It is rebooked? I didn't know it was rebooked. That's why I didn't say it. Oh, okay.
Running back. I think 317.
Oh, my boy Manel, he's back, baby.
National Fight Week, baby.
Oh, okay.
I think 317. I didn't know. I was like, this is the most Casey-coded fight of all time.
I didn't know. I didn't know it was rebooked. So I went Horiguchi because I wanted to see Horiguchi come back, and so So a lot of flyweights. Yeah, actually, did I say all flyweights? Flyweights and one ladies bantamweight fights. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the only reason I didn't include the Manel fight is because I say this to you guys know I'm not a fan of Manel Kape, but I kind of wanted to just see him get the title fight because Pantoja is still technically not booked, right? And the Royval fight makes a lot of sense for Kape. Don't get me wrong, get it, you got to resolve that, but I kind of thought Manel jumped over that fight. I just want to see Manel fight Pantoja now, but I don't know. But okay, but it's obviously an amazing matchup. I mean, I'm not complaining. Royval and Kape's so good. All right, guys, I'll give you my freak list before we get out of here. I'm really disappointed none of you had Reiner de Ridder, Bo Nickel. That's my number one. This fight's gonna be hilarious. I think, or it could be total garbage. I think that's where maybe Jed. This could be a really horrible fight. But if we're talking about intrigue, I don't really know where this is gonna go. Reiner has so much more MMA experience, and Bo looks so mediocre in that last fight. Not mediocre, but just not entertaining, obviously. I don't know. This could go anywhere. So honestly, sadly, that is my number one. I guess I shied away from title fights, but because the only one that made my list, number 2, Pena Harrison. And really it is the build I think has been really good. The intrigue of Amanda Nunes coming back. So there's a lot of stuff around it that I think it makes intriguing. I don't think it'll be a bad fight either. I actually think that's going to be a really entertaining fight. People might think I'm crazy, but wouldn't be the first time people said that. Number 3, I went Horiguchi Elembekov. Very excited to see Kyoji back. Number 4, yes, the Kansas City main event, Machado Gary and Pratis. Again, I just think it's a good matchup, and I'm excited to see where Pratis goes. And number 5, last but certainly not least, the UFC Baku bout between Hamdi Abdelwahab and Mohammed Usman.
Thank you. I love you.
My God, this might end up being the worst fight in a major promotion in 2025. The
heavyweighty belt is up for grabs.
Mo, if you're out there, I love you. I've interviewed Mo many times, but his fights are not the most entertaining contests in MMA. Okay, and Hamdi is arguably not even a UFC level heavyweight, which is scary when you consider how low that bar is. And somehow the matchmaking gods have decided to bless us with Hamdi Abdelwahab and Mo Usman. The other reason I'm looking forward to is I may put $5,000 on the over. I just don't know. This is just crazy ass match. This should not be in the UFC. I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Torres Finney just called. He said he can't wait for Usman versus Hamdi.
Yeah. He knows. He knows excitement. He knows excitement. So that is, I cannot wait. How long?
Tell you what, that's the first and last time Torres Finney's getting his name dropped on a rankings pod.
You think so? But I would. Yeah, listen, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Alexander Shabley for 10 minutes. So you cannot make that claim. Just to bring it full circle.
Try 20.
Just to bring it full circle. And by the way, Mo and Hamdi, that is June 21st. So a long wait, guys. Hang in there. It's a long wait, but hang in there. But thank you.
Can I just say something real quick?
Please.
The Usman Hamdi booking is much less egregious than Kyoji Horiguchi versus Takeru Ulanbekov.
Oh, that's a shame.
What the hell are we doing? What are we doing here? Kaya Sakura gets a title shot, and Kyoji Horiguchi comes back. We've been waiting for this. Fans have been asking for this for fucking forever. And he gets to Tagir Ulanbekov? Like, no disrespect to Tagir Ulanbekov. He's a little fine fighter. It's very disrespectful. It's very disrespectful. We're like, yes, Kyoji's coming back. Who's he fighting? Oh, he's fighting Tagir Ulanbekov. Come on, man.
I meant you're being a little disrespectful to Tagir. Is what I meant. I have.
No, I'm not. He's a fine fighter, but it's Kyoji Horiguchi, man. Like Patricio Pitbull got Yair Rodriguez and Kyoji, who's fought for a belt before, who's won multiple titles in other organizations, gets to fight a guy that nobody knows.
Like Chandler got Hooker.
I don't love it.
Oh,
when you have the opportunity to put Kyoji Horiguchi against Tagir Ulanbekov in Baku, you got to do it. I mean, that fight, that fight makes all the sense in the world. How can you pass up such an opportunity?
And right now,
millions of Azerbaijani fans who are screaming to see Kyoji Horiguchi beat Tagir Ulanbekov.
And right now, that fight is going to come right after.
Almabayev. Yeah. Alex Perez would have been a good one. Like, yeah.
But we're going to see Horiguchi maybe just moments after we get to experience Usman versus Hamdi. So that's going to be
June 20. Lose to Tagir. He might lose to Tagir.
Casey, that fight's going to come after the Curtis Blades Kuniev fight.
Oh, man.
June 21st.
Baku getting some haters.
Hamdi Abdelwahab, Mo Usman. That's all you guys need to know. We're all in this together. I will do a countdown.
We're sending Jose there. We're sending Jose.
We're sending Jose just for that.
We gotta get boots on the ground,
and just for that fight, and then he has to leave. Like he watches that fight, and then we get out, and then he gets kicked out. Like
come on, let him watch Curtis Blades Kuniev.
Kuniev, yeah.
Come on, let him double dip the heavies.
Dude, I think we're gonna put a ticker. I think we're going to put a ticker on MMAfighting.com. We're going to bring back the yellow banner, but it's just a ticker of how many hours, days, minutes, etc. until Hamdi versus Mo Usman. I'm so
we have to do a watch party for that.
They're not going to hear this.
We're sitting
please, Mike and Jed, please do a watch party. This fight will be amazing. If this ends in a first round knockout, which seems nearly impossible, I'll be so disappointed. But
stand up, do it again.
All right. Anyway, thank you guys. We've been talking long enough about rankings. Always fun to do these shows. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Jed. Thank you, Casey. Incredible work as always. Again, we might be back after 315. Not sure. We'll see what happens. I mean, if JDM wins, if Manon Fiorot wins, we might have to have a rankings show because, I mean, shit's going to get turned upside down. But I'm your host, Alexander K. Lee. Thank you, everybody. And remember, no matter where you rank these fighters, you listeners are always ranked number one in our hearts. Take care.
Love y'all.